Shalom Akim. I'm gonna give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GM, that's what teaching and rule well. Salutation all the Akim now for accordance earth who's pushing his truth and sincerity. Shalom Akim. I'm gonna get into this little article I ran across. It says United States of Yugoslavia. Cartoon hints at next chapter of American Civil War. Now, if you know anything about Yugoslavia, which is gonna our article is gonna show point out Yugoslavia was a terror zone in the 90s in the Bill Clinton era. I remember it clearly. They were showing us snipers shooting at kids and people on the shop, just going shopping in school. Like those people's everyday life was broke up, and who do they have to blame? United States of America, as well as their own government, because it was the falling part of the USSR branch. Even though Yugoslavia was a country outside of Russia, it was still part of that USSR treaty they had. And I've done many videos speaking about how powerful at one point that Russia was. Russia was an immense power, and even though they had sent their countries into famine at one point just to build up their nukes and everything, they were still a formidable foe, just as they are today. They never left. Their power has always been there. But at one point, uh, it was uh, it was USSR, and they were stretched out across a vast land, and Russia was in the center of it, and now all they have is Russia. But Yugoslavia was one of its states, and I remember in the '90s, like I said, you know, a civil war happened over there, and it just split it apart, and it became. It's gonna tell you right here. It became became mm, Kosovo, and it became a bunch of different. I'm gonna read through the article. I'm gonna find it in the article when I read it, but it became a bunch of different little Edomite states, so to speak. But at the end of the day, America had a big play in the downfall of this spot, because one part wanted to be Western, the other part wanted to be Eastern. If you became Eastern, if you stuck Eastern, I was with the so-called communist rule and everything. Western dealt with American rule, the new guard that was coming in. But let me read some of this article, and I'm gonna bring out some verses. This is a recent editorial cartoon comparing the U.S. to former Yugoslavia isn't a warning to avoid the path to balkanization and sectarian warfare. Because if you know anything, like I just said, that this was straight urban warfare at its finest. When Esau talks about that and he shows you in his videos and movies, this was we seen people trying to live their everyday life, and snipers were raining down bullets upon them. People were getting shot in the streets left and right, and they were still trying to go to product stores, and pretty much the same thing that these idiots are doing today was going on in Yugoslavia back then. And I don't see too far of of, this. I see the same, man. Basically, all I'm saying is I see the same happening here, because these people, the Americans, are asleep. They don't know what's going on half the time. So I see the same thing happening here. It says so much as to hint, so much as to hint in which direction the already ongoing civil war might be escalating. The chilling image posted in the Washington Post on Sunday showing the ethnical pardoning map of Bosnia, Herzegovina, and neighboring Serbia and Croatia. And these were the countries I was speaking about. Because still to this day, the Serbians and Bosnians, when they are at different tennis matches, soccer events, and stuff like that, they go in with each other. You know, so these tensions are still amongst them today. You know, but with the name Yugoslavian surprised over the slew of the lower 48 states. And this is, like I said, this is just somebody put a map up explaining the same thing that happened in Yugoslavia is going to happen here in America. And that's the logistics article. Let me bring out a verse too. He says, and this is Mark, I'm going to start off with Mark 3 and 25. Back up. Mark 3 and 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And that's what basically we're getting ready to see here in America. The sheeple here in America are going to be divided. over simple things as far as wearing a mask. Right now, that's one thing that's going on. You know, um, I hope the video don't get taken down just for saying a word, because certain words we are getting our videos taken down for bringing out the truth, man. But at the end of the day, you covering your face is something that's gonna it's going to lead to, a lot of people are getting jacked up. You could look on World Star and different internet avenues to show you how people are getting into physical altercations over wearing masks. They want you to wear a mask everywhere. People are sick and fed up and sick and tired of that. It's the summertime and they want to breathe. So you're gonna have one division of people that are gonna be wearing a mask, one people that are not, and they don't want to get down with that rule. You also have a group of people who are sick and tired of the non-jabos. That's another thing that's going to pop up. I was reading an article earlier, and it said that the people are, they're forming different type of uh, committees and different things where they're going to have this event for people who have taken it and this event for people who haven't taken it. These are the different times where these people are getting ready to fold in on each other, man. They're going to be snitching on each other for not subsiding with the rules, man. These are the times we're in, man. So this house, this kingdom is getting ready to be divided very much so, man. People are going to be snitching on each other. You got holidays coming up where, yeah, I already told people what one rich entertainer, she done backdoored herself. She said at one point that she wasn't going to take it, but now because everybody's taking it, it's so cool, it's so relevant, and people are on Instagram and YouTube showing that they've taken it and showing the evidence they've taken it. She said that at one point that she wasn't, but now she says that when the holidays roll around, and the first one holiday is Thanksgiving Day, when all these idiots gather at a household or whatever it might be, you know, uh, she said everybody who attends is gonna have a ticket, so that's gonna divide her household in itself. It's just people in her household who are not gonna want to take whatever it is, you know. I can't really say the name. We know what I'm talking about, but it is what it is. Famous football player said the same thing, man. I'm not. He said it's a shame. I'm gonna have to jeopardize my teammates' love for me just because I don't want to take this. You know, he said I'm gonna give up my whole NFL career. I don't care. The man served 10 years in the NFL. He done made money. He's good, man. I know exactly who he is. And I know how he lives, so he's good. I don't know him personally, but I've seen how his lifestyle is. You know what I'm saying? And let me continue. So it says, this is Mark 3 and 26. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand and but have an end, man. And we see that coming down, man. This Yugoslavia was cut up, you know. Yugoslavia at one point was one whole powerful state right outside of Russia. They paid their taxes and did whatever they had to do to Russia, but this it was Russia. It was Russia, Yugoslavia, Ukraine could be thrown in that mix, another powerful nation, even though Ukraine is still together and they had a civil war too as well, but just saying how powerful these nations were, But the Lord is he's showing himself, man, right now, because he's having a split and that's starting and it's happening. It happened over there and now it's happening here in America, man. So your everyday happy lifestyles will be no more very soon, man. You know? Yeah, and basically just like I'm saying, these people in Yugoslavia had a happy lifestyle, and in the midst of the happy lifestyle, all hell was breaking loose. They had a civil war going on with snipers and troopers killing people on the grounds and shooting stuff. You had tanks in towns. You had all sorts of shooting on the outskirts, as well as coming inside of the towns of these places, man, where they were shopping at and living everyday life. And that's what's going to happen here in America. Your everyday lifestyle will be over with. This is second Esdras. I'm gonna start 15 and 14. Old to the world and them that dwell therein. And woe means destruction, man. A lot of you people are asleep and don't understand the times that you're in, man. This is second Esdras 15:15. For the sword and the destruction drive not. And one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands, man. Civil war, man. Civil war. Same thing happened in Yugoslavia. Same thing happened in all these different countries in the world. It's getting ready to happen here in the United States of America, man. You're going to have civil war over simple things, man. Simple things to us as the hopeful elect, but to the people, they're going to be serious things. You know, whether it be over, like I spoke about earlier, who's taking the Jaworski, who's not taking it, who's wearing this, who's not wearing that, who's down for this government rule and who's not down. These are the simple guidelines and laws. I mean, uh, simple things that are going to be taken away. Simple granted things that are going to be taken away, and what you're going to be fighting for. Uh, Second Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be a sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. You know. So basically, that's all I was just trying to say is that I just seen this little RT article, and it brought out how civil war is on the brink here in the United States. Just was this is was in Yugoslavia, and it's how ironic because this civil war is swept under the rug. You know, the Bosnians versus the Serbs, and uh, but we do. I do know, like I said, I grew up around that time. And I remember Clinton. I remember the jokes that were going on. And, everything was funny. Funny. Follies was at a high at that time. Everything was funny at that time. But I just wanted to bring that out. With that being said, I hope this is edifying. Shalom, Akim.